Alright, so I've got some problems. I need to buy a new vehicle. Problem is, it's hard to decide what to actually buy. So I've got some options and we'll go through them here. First option is E46 M3. Problem with the E46 M3 is that it's pretty old. Now that doesn't really worry me. The thing that does worry me is they've got quite a few problems. So you need to do rod bearings. Rod bearings is not that big of an issue. Like it is a pretty big job to do. I can do it myself. There's also the rear subframe floor cracking issue, which is a pretty common problem on all E46s. It's worse on the M3. There's also the fact that there aren't many manual ones around. So there's a good chance if I bought one, I would be likely buying the SMG just because there aren't many manual ones around. And the SMG is quite troublesome. Some people just don't like the way how it drives. I don't mind it. It's not my favorite thing, but you know, it's fine. But then you have issues with the SMG pump, and then you have the SMG, the shift actuator. At least to my knowledge, I don't know heaps about them, but I know that it can be a real mess. But then you hear of some cars that have done pretty crazy mileage and it's not a problem. Also, another thing is that they're just pretty slow. No matter what you do to them, the only way how you can actually make them quick is to supercharge them. That's a lot of money, and then there's reliability, and I just don't really want to go down that whole path. So that's option one. Second option is the E90 M3. The E90 M3's got that fantastic 4-litre quad cam V8. It's great. Problem is, it's got some problems. So it needs rod bearings. Pretty big job. Can be done. Now that these cars are getting older, a lot of people are reporting that the main bearings are also wearing out, and a lot of them are actually exploding, which is really exciting. The reason why the S65 needs main bearings and the S85 does not is because the S85, which is the E60, E61 and E63, like M5 and M6 V10, that's got a single row timing chain, and the S65 has got a dual row timing chain. So there's a lot more pressure pulling the crank up. Well, there's a lot more preload. There's that. There's also the fact that it's also still pretty slow. I don't care who you are, it's not a quick car. So summary, they're pretty affordable, quite a few big problems. I would really need to rebuild the entire engine in order to do the main bearings, and I just really can't be bothered to do that, especially if it's going to be like a daily driver. I don't really want to buy a daily driver and then need to rebuild the engine. And they're also just slow. So that's the E90 M3. Option number 3, F80 M3. Well, F80 and F82 M3 M4. So I've got a massive soft spot for these. I think they're a fantastic car. They're very robust. They're built to a very high standard. They're pretty reliable. They make good power. They're quite lively. I think they're the best looking series of M3, or M4 as well. The new G80 I really don't like the look of, but anyway, that's besides the point. It's out of my budget anyway, so I'm not buying it. Problems with it, a lot of people are now reporting that it needs rod bearings around probably 150, 160,000 kilometers. A lot of people they're pulling them apart for whatever reason, often when they do crank hub, and they're noticing that the rod bearings do not look great. So anyway, it would be probably wise if I had it for a while to do rod bearings, but it's not the end of the world. It's not the worst job to do. It's still pretty, anyway, you get the point. It's a problem. If I have it for a while, I'll need to do it. Then there's also the crank hub, which is apparently only a problem on tuned S55s. But anyway, take that with a grain of salt, I guess, or whatever you want. It's not really a problem if you don't tune it. If you tune it, you should probably do it. Then there's the F87, the M2, and also the M2 comp. The OG M2 has got the N55 B30. It's the latest. It's the most updated variation of it. It's a really good car. Problem is, it's not really a true M car. It's a bit slow and they're a bit old. I mean, it's probably the most reliable M car that you can get with having the least amount of problems. But yeah, then there's the M2 comp. Great car, big fan. Same problems as the F80s, and it's a lot more expensive than the OG M2 with the N55. But it's probably the best car out of all of them for, I don't know, high performance driving. Use whatever term you want here. I don't care. If you like to drive quickly, it's probably the one that you want. That's really it actually. There's only 4 options. E46 M3, too old, too slow, too unreliable. E90 M3, same sort of deal. Too old, too slow, big problems. F80 sort of makes the most sense. They're also F80s are also significantly cheaper than M2 comps, and they've pretty much got the same running gear, even though they are slightly heavier. It's marginal, and I don't think they look quite as good as the M2 comp. But anyway, so it's really between F80, F82, F87. So if you have any experience with these cars, comment below. I'd like to hear it. At the same time, I've probably driven hundreds of these, so I've got a pretty good understanding, but I've also never owned one, so there's always something I can learn that maybe one of you can talk to me about. So anyway, that's it for this quick little video. Also, we do have some merch coming. This is a prototype design. Might just clean the cat hair off my shirt. So this is a prototype design I've done. You know, just trying to work out a few different designs and a few different suppliers and just, you know, testing the quality in that. But anyway, there's going to be some merch for sale soon. It'll be on the shopping icon, which will be just below where you hit the subscribe button. Whilst you're there, you may as well subscribe. I mean, why wouldn't you? Anyway, thanks for this quick short video. But yeah, if you have some useful info, comment below.